Hi, everyone. This is Scott Nybakken for Dynamite Comics, and I'm here with Master Vampirella author Tom Sniegosky to talk about his new series, Vampirella Armageddon, which is coming to stores in July. Tom, thanks for joining us on the channel.
Thank you. Nice to be back again.
So, to catch everyone up, Armageddon follows close on the heels of your most recent Vampirella Strikes series,
Right.
correct?
Yep.
And so, can you give the viewers a quick rundown of the settings and the timeline for these stories in the greater Vampy mythos?
Okay. This is kind of like I think we've talked about this before. Whereas this is kind of like my universe, the Sniegosky verse, as I call it, which is what I've continued since my run in the '90s. So when I came back for Vampirella's 50th anniversary, that was actually like my 25th anniversary for the original run of Vengeance of Vampirella. So I did a return to a new Vengeance of Vampirella, and then that continued on into Vampirella Strikes, and now the new series, which is Vampirella Armageddon. So they're all, those last two series all kind of connect to each other, but at the same time, I put enough of a fresh spin on it that a newbie could come in and know exactly what's going on in the storyline. In the Vampirella Armageddon, Vampirella is living in a place called Sepulcher City, which is like this large city that's built out in the middle of the desert, and it houses both humans as well as the supernatural creatures that are existing in the world right now. And she has kind of set herself up as kind of like a guardian of the more monstrous part of the city, because they're kind of getting the short end of the stick from the humans. So she's almost like a PI, almost like working to kind of keep the peace between humanity and the monsters that live in Sepulcher. As a matter of fact, it's called Monster City is the section, or the menagerie is the part of the place that she's currently living in. And at the opening of the new series, she's investigating some missing people, immigrants that were coming to the city who have gone missing, and nobody knows what's happened to them. So she's poking around and discovers something connected to some stuff that happened in Vampirella Strikes, like something that she knew was probably going to come back and bite her in the butt, but was hoping that it wouldn't, but it definitely did. And that's kind of like where we start, like her investigating and getting sucked into a much larger mystery / storyline that will propel this run of Armageddon.
Yeah, and the mystery of involving the missing immigrants.
Yeah.
That, like, for me, that begged the question of, like, how bad are things outside of Sepulcher City that they make a place like this seem like a more attractive option?
Well, like, I mean, I like to think it's funny because after the whole Mistress Nyx thing, where she basically took over the planet, I like to think that things are still kind of in a shambles, but slowly coming back, but still not quite where they would need to be to say human civilization is back to where it needs to be. And Sepulcher is like the first time it's all kind of come together and things seem to be functioning as best they can. So I would think that the rest of the planet is probably still in that transitional period where things are almost coming together, but it's a much different world than what we had prior to Mistress Nyx. But yeah.
And so Vampirella is working with the werewolf Dagwood.
Yes.
In her new detective agency. And in Vampirella Strikes, she had something of a contentious relationship with him.
Yeah, you know what? That was a happy accident. I don't even have any real idea. Things just clicked to kind of create a interesting like sidekick for her. That wasn't when I first had him appear, I really didn't intend for him to like continue on, but I kind of enjoyed writing him. Yeah. I thought he was a nice they kind of play off each other nicely. Kind of like a Spencer for Hire with Hawk, like all the great PI novels, usually the PI has kind of a opposite, like a kind of a darker side that they kind of play off each other nicely. And that's kind of like, it was like when by the end of my run on Strikes, it was kind of like, wait a minute, I think he would be perfect to hang around with her for storylines.
Well, we may have to cut this interview short. I think the police are coming for you.
I know. I was just gonna say we just had a new fire station open, not too far from my house, so there's a lot more racket than I'm used to.
But would you say that the Dagwood has warmed up to Vampirella a little?
Oh bit? Yeah. Oh, there's definitely a mutual respect. There's definitely a mutual respect. Yeah, for sure. Because in his original appearance, he hated her. I mean, matter of fact, he's responsible for like, I think she broke his teeth, so he had to have his teeth replaced. I think he took out an eye. She took out an eye, so he's got an eye patch too. So, but they're on better terms now.
Speaking of violence and destruction, in the final issue of Vampirella Strikes, the last run, we saw the darkness within Vampirella reveal itself just long enough to make some dire predictions about the final fate of the world.
Yes.
Will we hear more from this shadowy voices?
That's the whole focus of this particular series. And what's interesting about it is that I don't even realize half the time that I'm doing certain things, like laying groundwork that will pay off later on. I actually went back and read my original run of Vengeance of Vampirella from the 90s, and there were seeds that I'd planted then that I'm like literally playing off of now, which is really, really funny, because it must have just been something subconsciously rattling around in my brain that just it keeps getting bigger. The things that I mentioned in the original run, and then the newer run in the 2000s, and then Vampirella Strikes. The darkness within Vampirella is getting bigger and stronger and more, and becoming more of a character in the storyline. So this is where it gets its spotlight in Vampirella Armageddon.
And related to that, you're reuniting here with the fantastically talented artist Cuber Ball.
Oh my God, he's great.
Yeah. He illustrated the run on the Vengeance of Vampirella.
Yeah, he did quite a few issues. That was with Michael Star Maria did quite a few issues, and Kuber did quite a few issues. But Kuber's fantastic. Matter of fact, when they asked me to do this series, I had originally said, and I want Kuber to draw it, okay? And they were like, oh, that's great. So I started to kind of come up with my story arc and where I was going and things. And then they were like, oh, we're not sure we're going to be able to get Kuber. He's got some other work that we just gave him. And I freaked, because I was basically writing these stories for his visual interpretation. So I kind of panicked. I was like, I don't know if this stuff will work with somebody else. I know what he can do. I know how amazing he is. So I was kind of like writing to the top of my imagination, because I knew he could pull it off. So they actually waited. They actually held off on soliciting Vampirella Armageddon for a little while, so Kuber could finish that work, so he could jump onto it now. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and I think you actually already answered this, but I was going to ask if there were connections between the Vengeance of Vampirella series and the new series.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of those things where I've been writing the character for so long that I might as well take advantage of what I've done. So instead of starting from scratch each new series, I think it's kind of neat that you can kind of like see a bigger picture, a broader picture. But at the same time, like I said, new readers could come in and know exactly what we're doing and what we're talking about. So I don't do anything that says, oh, you're going to have to go read 400 issues of this to understand what I'm doing. No, that's not how I'm approaching the storyline. So
yeah. And finally, without getting too far into spoilers, can you hint at where Vampy's investigation may be leading her? I think it might be down a road that's said to be paved with good intentions.
Oh, well, the whole reason why she ends up where she is in this series is because of something that she thought was possibly a good idea that happened in Vampirella Strikes. So she ends up in hell. She ends up in hell, and she discovers that there is a enormous war going on in hell, and she's responsible for this war. Like, if she hadn't done what she did in Vampirella Strikes, this war probably wouldn't be happening. So now she kind of like, all right, here I am in hell. I gotta fix this. I gotta straighten out this problem that I created. And good luck on that.
Well, I think like we're all looking forward to seeing like the finished issue. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for joining us and keeping us in the loop on all things Draculonian.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Vampirella Armageddon #1 will arrive in stores this July. So make sure to pre-order it now, and be sure to follow Dynamite Comics on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X to hear more about all of our upcoming releases. Thanks for watching.